All right, Drew, you want to go?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, good. Um, Hello, we are the Stereo Invaders. We have made Lyrical, a lyric generating AI. The purpose of Lyrical is to help artists create lyrics and see how AI can understand the emotions involved in songwriting. We hope to open up possibilities for AI in creative fields to allow new and experienced artists alike create song lyrics.
So for our data, it was a bit of a struggle at the beginning because every data set we would look at, it either have lyrics, and we were gonna base lyrical on different emotions. So it would either have the emotion and no lyrics or the lyrics and no emotion. But eventually we stumbled upon this one from GitHub, which had the emotions of tenderness, sadness, and tension, as well as the lyrics. So we ended up using that as our first one just to like see if we could do it. And we were able to train our models like really quickly. So then we had this idea from the beginning to just take a data set that has emotions and use the Genius API to get the lyrics for each of the songs. So then that's what we ended up doing. And we used the Muse data set from Kaggle and the Genius API to get more emotions like euphoric and cheerful.
So basically, the Muse dataset had the list of emotions, like with each song. And so what we did was we took that dataset from a CSV file, converted it into Pandas in Python, and then found the emotion we wanted, and then plugged the artist and the track title into the into the Genius API. And then once we got that lyric data, then we plugged that into this function that basically just cleaned the data so that the AI wouldn't get confused. And then we put all of those lyrics for whatever emotion it was into a TXT file that then the model could read and then be trained on. And then we put all of this into one function so that any of our team members could just access it and just type in whatever emotion they wanted, and it would spit out a TXT file, and then we could train a model using that.
So for the model, we used a GPT Neo model, and we programmed this model to generate song lyrics based on the title and the emotion that the user gives. The model also features an adjustable temperature, which allows the user to dictate how like tame or random they want the output to be. And the model runs off a library of songs taken from Genius using their API.
So in terms of training, we used the CoCalc and the Google Colab server simultaneously, so we could train two models at once, so we could double our production speed. We trained it through AI text gen, and we only used about 125 million parameters.
So we had a few obstacles when we were creating the project. One of them, as Jay mentioned, was the data collection. It was really only the one data set that we could find that had both emotions and lyrics together. But huge shout out to Jay and Sam for making that API scrapper. And then another big problem was website design. None of us had done website design before this camp. So it took all of this week, including today, to get our website working well. Another problem with some of our models is it'll, instead of only taking like one or two lines from a song, it'll take whole sections, which isn't the best for creativity. And a lot of our models are very vulgar and explicit because we fed it a lot of hip hop and rap.
Here is an example output from our AI generated. And we chose one that is not too vulgar for presentation purposes, but as you can see, the AI created new generated song lyrics from the things we fed it and prompt. Thanks for listening.
So now we're gonna go to the website itself. If I can, hold on, exit out of this. And so does anybody have any suggestions for a prompt or anything? Here's just like our homepage, and then below we have a place to try our product. So all right, so I'm seeing Java sucks a lot, so
I
we can
like
try
Java
that.
sucks.
So what emotion do y'all want? We have sadness, euphoric, tenderness, tension, and cheerful. All right, so tension was the first one I see. Okay, so tension. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit to run. Um, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about this part. So basically, the prompt it just uses in the beginning. Occasionally it'll use it throughout, but I haven't seen that more than a couple times. The randomness is basically how much so basically if you run it a bunch of times, the less randomness you have, the more like I guess the more similar they are to each other. Whereas if you have it cranked up to 100%, then they are usually very different. And so one of the problems we had with the website was getting it to actually like line up correctly. As you can see, it's more in like a paragraph form rather than in like a thing you would normally see as lyrics. So we were kind of working on that today, but we couldn't quite get it out. So yeah. And then here we have our product specs. And I'm going to let Dhru talk about that.
This is our product specs. It basically has a product description, purpose, why we made the AI, and challenges. We already talked about this in the presentation. Here's some tech we used: Kaggle for data sets, Flask for the website, Genius to source the lyrics, GPT Neo for the models, Python to code, and then AI text gen to generate lyrics.
And then, so for our About Us page, we have a quick description of each of the team members as well as the team as a whole. We're just going to talk about something we learned. It's kind of our experiences beforehand. So I had been programming for a few years before I took this camp. And a few things I learned was definitely Python as well as HTML and some CSS during the camp.
I'm Jay. I had prior experience with R before this, but I always wanted to learn Python, and this was a really good experience, especially learning pandas and just working with the data. It was frustrating at times, but definitely worth it.
So I'm Aaron. I've had zero coding experience in the past. Maybe there's one time where I went on a code academy for literally like 10 minutes and just gave up after that. But I'm the one who built the About Us page that you're looking at right now. Somehow. I don't even know how. I'm pretty sure I just used Google the entire time. But that's pretty much all to be said about me.
Hi, I'm Dhru. I have had coding experience in Java, and I learned a lot about Python and pandas. I made the product specs page and most of the presentations. Well, not most. Well, some of the presentations.
What did I learn? I learned a lot about like self-teaching because Aditya, he helped us just like let us go. Like me and Dhru were the first ones to start working on the website, and we didn't even have a template, and so we just kind of went at it.
So I learned a lot about things like coding, like pandas and Python, but I also learned a lot of skills that I can use in my professional career later on.
Yeah, Alex. So guys, I want to add something here. The highest obstacle we faced there in the starting of the last week, two of our team members were not available. And let you guys know, Gavin is currently suffering from the COVID, but he come back strongly and cope up with the things and design the website. So I want to give a huge shout out to the Gavin, and Noah had a family emergency, so huge shout out to the whole team here.